Another player we have been kind of, wondering about is Julian Edelman, the veteran receiver, obviously a longtime face of the franchise in New England, still trying to work his way back from a knee injury that drastically shortened his 2020 season. My understanding is he does want to play in 2021. That's not the important thing. The important thing is his knee going to be healthy enough to play? He is still rehabbing, he is still recovering, still trying to see if he is healthy enough to be out there for the 2021 season. No decision made yet on which way that is going to go. Welcome back to the 58th edition of the USOI Fiesta podcast. We are full-fledged into the off-season here. It's been about a month since we recorded, so we're back, trying to get it back on schedule here. But, we've got free agency coming up in a little over a week, 2 weeks now. So breaking it down, getting into free agents. We're going to start it off here with talking about the in-house free agents. Where should we start with that? Where do we want to
start from the top?
Begin? Start from the top. I guess that's a good starting point. Who is at the top? Do we want to just run through the guys we have and the pros, the cons, weigh them?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
We'll use
and we can vote
the list of
we have three people and we can say like yay or nay or like resign or let go.
Here, I got the list, and all right, so let's start here. Let's start with Joe Thuney. All right, so I think Joe Thuney is an interesting situation because I don't think anyone doesn't want Joe Thuney back.
Right.
But I don't think anyone at the same time expects Joe Thuney to be back. It was a surprise last year to franchise tag him. I think everyone last year kind of thought, he would wind up like most of the Patriots free agents, get paid somewhere else and be off. But here we are now in 2021 having the same conversation. Joe Thuney, how do we handle it?
Let walk.
Simply just let walk. No tag, no nothing.
Nah, I just think it's at this point. You have Michael Onwenu, and he can step in.
I think I'm with Jacob on this one.
I love him. I love Joe Thuney.
Yep.
I was actually kind of excited that we franchise tagged him, even though that meant Brady was gone. Again, I would love to keep him. It's just the fact that he's also versatile. The fact that we could just put him in a center out of nowhere and he played really, really well. Like that just tells you right there that he's a great player.
Right. And I think that's part of the reason why he's going to get paid too, right?
Right.
You have that versatility in the offensive line. He's going to get paid regardless. And there's teams like the Bengals. I don't know where you guys think his probably preferred destination would be or his top suitor, but
I don't know.
I'd probably put the Bengals at the top of the list, I think. That's his hometown, I think. They need the help. They've got two young guys. I think it's Jonah Williams that they drafted last year or 2 years ago. They could use a guard, man, get Joe Burrow some help, and they've got the money to do it. So
I know Jets fans have been raving over him. They want him bad.
They really do.
Get him out of the division. That's
what my main concern.
What if they tagged him and traded him?
Yeah, that was a discussion last year too, wasn't it?
I remember when he got tagged, everyone was like, "Oh, is he just gonna get flipped around?"
What are you gonna get for him though? You might get an immediate third round pick instead of a comp.
Yeah, but you're gonna get a third if he leaves anyways. Is the comp?
But that's the thing. That's just a year ahead though. That's the thing. Would you want to? Because you don't get that till next year, right?
Do you think we can think about too with that trade and
you get the third round pick now or later? I don't know. I mean,
you also get to control where he goes.
I think we're all in agreement there with Thuney. It's one of those guys where it's we've seen it a million times. He's in, he's gone, he's out. Right. Thanks for your service. One of the more storied Patriot careers because he has been to he went to in his first 3 years he was in the Super Bowl every year, right? Or 3 or 4 years. Oh, the guy, just a winner, Good. Shut down Aaron Donald in the Super Bowl.
Oh, I would never forget that. I would never forget
that. Yeah. So next up, Jason McCourty.
I'll help him pack his bags and get out of here.
Yeah, that's there's the biggest value that Jason has to the team is
everywhere but the field.
It's keeping his brother here, and to be at this point, it might not,
Right.
it might not even be worth it at this point. Like that's how bad he is.
Is it worth it to have Jason McCourty just be a locker room guy
No.
to keep his brother? Like that's what it comes down to. His biggest value is legitimately just
If you pay him like a special teamer, then fine. But that's about it.
right. I think it's like
not even-
his average per year would have to go way down.
I couldn't believe they picked up his option. It was like $3 million. I was like, ugh, that's
If
disgusting.
he's back for around $3 million,
But
I mean,
It is what it is at this point.
Yeah, if I mean that's such a quick answer.
But like we at the
literally,
same
like,
time,
lost
as I hate to say it, we are like losing some corners here.
yeah, especially if you
So,
trade Gilmore.
But
So
I still wouldn't get.
All right, moving on. James White would be the next. I think we'll run through about like the top ones here. We're not going to go into the but James White. This is a tough one. That is, I think, there is the toughest question you'll be asked.
It is a tough one.
Is how do you deal with James?
yeah, he kind of branches into Rex Burkhead as well too. Because would you rather bring Burkhead back who just suffered a torn ACL, or would you rather have James White who, I think a lot of people look at him and think kind of what they thought about Tom Brady. Oh, he's just a guy that's going to play here for, his whole career, right? And I mean, you look at the running backs that they have right now, Damian Harris, Sony Michel. We talk about J.J. Taylor a lot. A lot of those guys aren't really pass-catching backs as much as they've tried to develop Sony Michel. I just think they need that leadership, especially, I know he's a little bit up there in age. I think he's 29 years old, but he'll probably be around $3 million a year, and I think that's worth it for James White. He was a Super Bowl hero. He's one of the best pass-catching backs this game's ever seen. So,
Right. For me, it depends. Like, can you find a replacement? If it takes up a draft pick, I'm gonna be annoyed. Like, you just kept him. But like, but if there's someone on the streets they like, I mean, bring him in, because you know me, I'm running backs, whatever. You can find one anywhere.
You're faced with such a decision between him and Burkhead. It's like you're probably not going to be able to bring back both. If you do, that's like great. It probably costs you some offense somewhere else. But you're faced with a decision. Burkhead being the lesser of the two, I would say, both money wise and ability wise. But there's a factor to James White that is like he is the offense. Sometimes
he's a Patriot.
There's very
he's
few
just...
it's like there's very few guys that just are the offense on some nights, and he is. And it's how can you, like you just said, Matt, in the first point you made, is like how can you view him anywhere else other than New England? And I think it's one of those ones that whether he comes back and it's the best decision or whatever it may be, how do you get over the fact like not being a Patriot? It'd be wild. He's one of those guys. Like I truly believe he's right up there with Gronk in the fact of like guy
he's one of the biggest parts of the dynasty. Like you look at 2016 and what he did in that Super Bowl, just basically took it over. He was one of the main reasons why we won. Could have been Super Bowl MVP. I know Brady won it, but yeah, he's just been crazy in his prime. He lost his his father this past year, so
Jacob, he's the best Patriots running back of all time.
Yeah, that's an achievement. On a franchise that's never really had a.
That's the
great running
debate
back.
that we've had over this last month.
That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
You don't find many running
You're lucky
backs
Ethan
like
isn't
James
here.
White.
You're lucky Ethan isn't here. He'd rattle off like 5 different other running backs that are better.
Jim Nantz, Sam Cunningham from the 60s.
Yeah, stop with
Sam Cunningham is easily better.
Literally, what even is that?
He's
Like that is
from the,
like
70s.
bro. Who is Sam Cunningham? Like that is
No one knows.
Like stop, yeah. Ain't nobody know who you are. Yeah, that's which is, and you've got there's probably like some like token like Pats fan from like 1970 who like heard that and is like, what are these like whatever? But like James White, most important. I mean, like I said,
So here's the thing: it's two different things. Most important or best? Which one are you talking about?
I want to pinball back in between both because I feel
you can't.
White won like what 3 Super Bowls with us, so
yeah. Look, like he's the most.
Is he the best running back?
I guess it's like when you have
He's a
like
third down back.
accomplished.
Right, so it's like it's kind of like one of those things where it's like
Fine, most accomplished. Fine.
Right, so like the best Patriots receiver of all time is Julian Edelman or Wes Welker, but the best player to ever play for the Patriots that's a wide receiver is Randy Moss.
Stanley Morgan.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of the same thing where it's like
Who's Stanley
within
Morgan?
their Patriots career, James White is the best running back to ever play for this team.
Right. I can agree with you on that.
If it helps you sleep at night, go ahead. Frankly, I don't give a rat's ass who the best running back in franchise history is.
I'm just saying that all plays
Do running
into
backs in your own time.
the nostalgia factor of James White in free agency.
Yeah, you're. Yeah, I can't relate to you.
I mean, no one's gonna forget his game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. I mean,
Obviously, I'll never
I
forget
mean,
what
and
he did in that game.
there's a million James White moments. I mean, when the offense is dormant, James White is the most consistent player on the team always.
Unless
he's
Cam Newton's your quarterback.
yeah, fair
consistently
enough.
bad. But yeah,
See, what's the one play? If you want to do that, like one play I remember from James White always is the one against the Eagles where he had like
yes, he
like,
went beast mode in the Super Bowl.
3 or 5 guys bounce off of him for a
He,
touchdown.
literally
That one
the
I'll
best
always
he's the
remember.
best Super Bowl running back of all time.
You
that
can make
sure,
that
fine.
argument. That's a legitimate argument. Yep.
Yeah, totally.
I won't argue with you there.
Lawrence Guy,
Bye.
another tough decision. So
I don't know.
we've made it very clear around here. We want to blow up the defensive line. We want to get rid of everybody. But at the same time, it's like Lawrence Guy, like
Bye.
he's been the most consistent.
Lawrence
He's
Guy.
30 years old. But I mean,
Bye, guy.
I actually think that he might come back.
I
think
feel
it's one of
that
those
way
ones-
as well.
He might sacrifice a little bit of pay elsewhere, but I think that he has that.
Oh, if he's
feeling
cheap,
of,
they'll love him.
it's a situation that he like feels comfortable in. He's thriving, revitalize his career in, he be part of whatever's happening in the future. You know, some consistency within the defensive line because we want to blow it up, but you can't let go of everyone.
He unfortunately he
true.
needs someone next to him. He needs someone besides Adam Butler next to him.
He needs a better pass rusher next to him to perform to the level that he's probably capable of, which is a run-stuffing defensive tackle.
Because this past year he wasn't that good.
No, he declined this year.
But,
yeah,
but who
he was-
but who was? But
That's
at the
what I was
same
gonna
time,
say.
who was?
Literally, who on this team was other than like the rookies that we couldn't see last year was better. Like no one played better this year. So
Right,
it's
but-
like
but-
James
yeah,
White.
that-
James White didn't play to a James White standard this year. But I mean, are we just gonna forget about everything James White had done up until this point? No.
Well, it depends.
I guess Burkhead was probably the only player
Burkhead,
that
baby.
played like above.
Burkhead
his,
didn't.
Yeah.
If Burkhead didn't get hurt, I would be on the resign Burkhead campaign.
yeah.
I think if you resign Burkhead, resign James White, you can't let both of them walk. Then you have to spend a higher pick at running back. Defensive line, keeping it in. Adam
AJ
Butler,
Taylor.
you just mentioned him.
Right.
Adam Butler, another
Didn't-
tough one. Another tough one on the
Didn't-
defensive
This
line.
is difficult. Yeah.
Well, like, didn't he? Wasn't there a report saying that he was interested in coming back, and then he came out and said that he wanted money too? So it's like, I don't know where he's at.
Well, you see, I don't think Butler can fetch that much money. I just don't. Maybe the Jets come in, or a team that values young defensive tackles, but he's strictly a pass rusher. We've talked about this
That's
like
for
in our
sure.
group chat before. He's strictly a pass rusher. He's a liability in the run game, and I think
That's
until
for
he can
sure.
prove that he's good in the run game, you can't pay up to him. Like I will put a max right now at around like $4 million. I don't think you can give him much more.
Yeah,
How many
4 million
times
would be
did-
max too.
How many times did we see him like bust through the line and just completely miss the ball
Right.
carrier? He did
Looking
it
like
like
Dietrich
5
Wise.
times this past season. It's like, wow, like that's impressive how many times he did that and missed.
But you got to give it to him as well. He was an undrafted free agent out of Vanderbilt, and he kind of came in on the scene. I think he had 5 sacks his rookie year. So, the pass rush ability's
he's-
there.
He's one of those dudes that's like those like absolute draft steals. I mean, he's probably your second best pass rusher on the team. And
Right. You could even- yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
an undrafted free agent, right? So like all that into consideration, Adam Butler is one. I don't think we'd be having this conversation if we didn't see what we saw in the last like 6 games with Adam Butler. What
Yeah.
he did against like Arizona, Houston, Baltimore, like that stretch of games in the later half of the season, LA both times, like that made us have some kind of like question and whether we should bring him back, because up until that point at the bye week I was like, this guy, like, he's not coming back, we're cool to let him walk, we got an answer there. But now there is a little bit of mystery.
See you later.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one because if you
Is there
bring back
anyone you'd
Lawrence
like
Guy,
back? Is there anyone you'd like back, Jacob?
It's very short. It's a very short.
It's a very short list. We have a million free agents. And you're like,
Have I? I don't think I've said one yet.
Joe Tooney, but we also mutually
Joe Tooney's
agree
different.
that it's just like
I said-
that's not
I
happening.
think he'll say one.
All right,
And I'm realistic. It's not like who I want back. I say it's like what makes sense to bring back.
let me
and who I
throw
want.
one at you, Jacob.
Okay.
Little guy up front named David Andrews.
Yes, I want him back.
That's who I thought
That
it
is
was going to be.
100%.
I think the
You
biggest
have to.
no-brainer.
Yes,
Like-
you have to.
There needs no
Yep.
discussion.
If you're going to bring in a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback, you better give him a good center. So David Andrews is top 5 in the league.
Andrew's
So,
like he's number 1 on my list. Like you have to bring him back.
You have to. It is a
I think you
requirement.
have to.
good luck finding another center is Cal.
The
Right,
number
like,
one, the
right.
number one off-season priority is David Andrews.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Our free agents, exterior free agents, draft whomever. David Andrews needs to be the number one thing you focus on and lock up.
Right.
Or if he leaves, you're looking at taking an offensive lineman at 15. That completely shifts.
Sucks.
Yep.
That's because
That
that's the
shifts
thing.
the
If you-
draft and
you
it
need-
shifts free agency.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck finding another. Like, plus he might not even cost that much to be perfectly honest.
David Andrews?
Yeah.
I
Centers
Yeah,
often don't get a lot of money.
Right.
yeah.
So that's-
I just think
that's
that
kinda
there's
what I mean.
sometimes there's always some people that'd be willing to outbid. But
They have to bring him back. If they don't bring him back,
He too, I think you said earlier, Tony played in like 3 straight Super Bowls to start his career, right? I think
Yeah, so-
Andrews played in 3 as well, right? Because they were drafted together.
16, 17. Yeah.
He
you're right.
played in LIII, and then yeah.
Remember Brian Stork? Remember him?
Yes. Random Patriots.
Good old Stork.
Yeah, drafted in 15, so he would have played in 16, 17, and 18.
Yeah.
So
that might be the only guy I say. That might be the only guy I say to resign.
John Simon?
No.
hell no. Hell no.
Yeah.
See ya.
Sorry. Sorry.
Next. Jake,
Sorry.
if Jake was here, he'd be like, "Yeah, we gotta look into it.
Ohio
we gotta
State.
look into it." Ohio State.
Ohio State.
That dude's.
That would, yeah.
awful.
I mean,
He's one of the
He's
worst
brutal.
edge defenders
This
I've ever
was the
seen.
one year
John Simon.
too.
He went into
This was the
year
1 year he
being,
could have proved it.
like Frisky could have proved itself. Completely.
He sucks.
Failed.
He's terrible.
Yeah, just not worth the moment or not worth the money. And then Rex Burkhead, we've touched on it. It's got to be one of the two. Rex,
See,
like
see,
Rex
that's-
or
see,
If
one.
you lose one, you get the other.
Right. See, that's someone who I would normally say, yeah, I would want back, but in reality, no, you're not going to resign him.
You gotta look at it too. Who else is willing to take a chance on a guy who tore his ACL, right? And then you can flip that and be like, hey, you almost had a career year, right? But
He's on the
Who's willing
older
to do it?
side, too. But he was having a
Yeah.
career year, dude. He
He's
was actually playing
30?
really well. Is he 30?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's around 30. Yep.
I think so. Well,
The
for
bar-
a running back, I think
Yeah,
that's old.
yeah. The bar keeps
It's funny
getting
'cause you
lower for a
guys
lot of
remember-
players.
Like we signed him, and everyone's like, "Who's this guy?" Like
I
literally,
remember
I didn't
that.
know
I was
who he was.
hyped
And
about
I remember
Rex
the
Burkhead.
first, I fell in love with that dude like the first couple games. I'm like, oh, this guy looks pretty good.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he's awesome, and I think every year since he's been here, we've said like, I think he's getting cut. He's gonna be a surprise cut. Like, but no,
Oh
he
my
sticks
God.
around. He sticks around every year, so might as well like.
And watch, he's
not-
still going to be back.
That's what I'm saying. Don't bet against him. He's probably just gonna show back up to Foxborough in
Just
August.
the fact that he's a special teamer, Bill loves him.
He
know
is
that's it.
literally like the perfect Patriot. So, I don't even want to. This is just the next person I have on the list, and I don't even want to ask it. Cam Newton, like,
Oh, you.
like
Nope.
skip.
Bye.
Don't
Bon
even. Yeah,
voyage.
obviously, I don't
Good
even want to
day.
beat that dead
I
horse.
Have
feel
a
like
good
we
life.
should talk about it a little bit.
What more do we have to say about him?
He sucks. Go away. I don't like him.
If you strike out on Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett, Ryan Fitzpatrick,
I'll take Jacoby Myers at
If
quarterback.
you were
before I take
literally
him.
left with only Cam Newton, you might have to look into it.
look, and there was
Ha,
a report
yeah,
the
there you
other
go.
day. What was the report? It was saying that they'd rather have Cam Newton over the free agent pool of quarterbacks.
Over like guys
So-
like Jacoby Brissett, and that pisses me
Okay.
off. Cause
Here's
Well,
something we haven't.
that's-
Here's something we
you
haven't
know.
talked about with Cam, and this is credit to Doug Kyde on making the point. But he had the point of the best case for Cam Newton, or the best selling point for Cam Newton is Cam Newton attracts better pass catchers than any of these mid-level tier. Like, who if you're Allen Robinson, would
Which
you
I
rather
never
come?
understand.
Would you rather come to New England to play with Marcus Mariota or Cam Newton?
Marcus
Cam
Mariota.
Newton, obviously.
No,
Yes,
you
Jacob-
can't say that, Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob.
No,
you-
you
I
can't.
think Mariota. I'm not even a Mariota guy. I
How
really
is
don't like
Mariota attractive to free agents?
Well, I
Because
don't
he's
know if he is, but
That's what
I'm
we're
just
saying.
telling you
He's
my
like-
opinion. I think Mariota's a far better passer.
Yes,
Whoa.
maybe. Put that aside.
I know.
The
I
point
know.
being
I know.
is Cam is attractive to pass
It's all about the
catchers.
name. I know.
Well, and like I mean, Cam is more than a name. He's the aura, the guy. The
He's an
leader, the
MVP.
whoever,
He's a,
like,
he's
yeah,
a name who won an MVP and choked in a Super Bowl, and people want to play with that, other than a backup.
All right,
the Raiders.
relax,
Oh,
Jacob.
okay.
He's a good.
Oh.
Just saying. Just saying.
Jesus.
He's terrible.
He's a
You don't even
good
wanna
man.
look at
All
him.
right, that's what people look for.
It's disgusting.
Getting
If you want,
punked by
if you're
kids
if you're a
in
wide
youth
receiver and you if
All
you
right,
want
let's move on.
if you're a wide receiver and you want to play with Cam Newton, like wow, you'd be better off playing with Jared Stidham, same player.
That's just because he has his jersey.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Demir Bird, another guy.
If you strike out on the
Just
big
up in
name,
there.
sure.
Yeah, the backup plan can't be your first priority.
Oh, God, I guess.
Demir
I
Bird,
guess.
like I mean, what more to say? You know, he was
No.
our wide receiver 1 last year. You need to make sure that you have
2.
not that happening.
Jacoby Myers was number 1.
Not by percentage of snaps played. So
I don't give a rat's ass what their percentage was.
that literally means that they're a wide receiver. If Demir Bird
Well, I mean-
leads the team in downs played, he is
Well,
the
I mean-
number 1 option because he is an
that per- is
option
that per
more.
game?
Yeah,
per
so
game?
Demir Bird played 89% of the snaps. I think Jacoby Myers was.
That's
like,
crazy
somewhere.
for a first-year receiver.
Well,
in my one.
Myers also didn't like start playing until like midseason.
Yeah, but even
Yeah, he was a
Demir Bird
healthy
played more
scratch.
downs.
Yeah, he was a healthy scratch.
So he was definitely our wide receiver 1.
Okay, if that's
Yep.
what you want to go by, go ahead.
Not a ton of people left. Let's cap it off with J.C. Jackson. It's a little different scenario.
Yeah, it's a tender, so
We can talk about how we want to like. I don't know.
I think you think about best and worst case scenario here. You put the first round tender on him, and you don't get him back. You get a first round pick. You have 2 first round picks. You get him back.
Yeah,
and you
then
have
honestly
but
not
then,
a top 10
then you
corner.
have a crisis at corner.
That's true, but then you have 2 first round picks, so you can
Yeah.
take a corner at 15 or wherever the other pick you got, right? Or
Yeah,
you can
it's just
move up
tough
and
because
get a
like
corner.
he's not going to be better than J.C. Jackson.
Right,
we all
right.
know that.
Fair enough. I mean, he's not going to be better year 1. Maybe down the road he will be, but
Do you think that? That if we put a first on JC, someone would do it?
Yeah, maybe.
looking at the teams, the Jets would be out. They're not giving up the 2nd overall pick.
I think you'd have to look past our pick. I don't think we're
Right.
getting a higher pick.
You'd have to
Probably
look
not.
at teams like, Seattle doesn't have a first. You look at quarterback or corner needy teams, so that would be like Indianapolis.
Cowboys.
Cowboys, they have 10, so possibly. Cleveland, they have around 26, I believe.
If like
Yeah,
Dallas gives you like 10 for J.C. Jackson, that like I would
Oh.
do that.
Don't match that. I wouldn't match that. Just let them have that much money for JC. But yeah, I
That
think there's
gets-
teams out there that would do it.
That'd be a surprise. Though. I have a funny feeling he's.
I'd say-
they're probably gonna tender him, and I think that's the right move.
Probably. Andrews we
Oh.
said was like number 1, like that needs to be your number 1 priority. Honestly, number
1A,
2
1B.
might be number
Jackson's
2
2.
might be trying to extend JC.
Have you guys
I'll
seen
ask
like
you
his
guys
stories?
this.
Like,
Yeah, his stories are weird.
He's been putting a lot of stories on about like he wants to make bank or something or wants to make money. I wonder if they're having negotiations and it might
Dave,
not be going well.
I remember Rosenthal is his agent, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
And I remember listening to him say, like, he was talking, it wasn't directly about the Patriots, but he used JC as an example and was like, this was probably like 6 months ago, where he was like, we're in discussions. So like, there's been open discussion within like, I don't think the plan is just simply like.
And see,
tender, that's
JC
what
doesn't
we're
have
looking
much
at.
leverage right now either.
Right.
Right. So I bet they're trying to do it now, but
Would you guys rather just sign him to the tender, or would you rather work out a long-term deal?
Well, the tender
Probably a long
is
term.
more expensive, most likely.
I think
how
it's
much is
around
the tender?
4.5, right? I'll check right now.
Is it 4.5 million? Or I think
I think it's more than that.
Jacob and I looked at this for our mock off season. It's 4.7 million, 4,766,000 for a first round tender,
bad at
3.3 million for a second.
so. Yeah, there you go. So I mean, so it's a good question to ask whether you'd rather tender him or extend him, because for one, the tender is cheaper, and on the off chance a team wants to give you a first round pick, I mean, you could afford to lose him.
Right.
But I mean, it's better than like. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough.
It's a
one. I
tricky
feel like
situation.
but like either or, the worst case scenario, like you said earlier, is just you get a first round pick.
Right.
So I mean,
Yeah,
at
it's
least,
not a
like,
bad situation for the Pats.
Try to extend him. If you can't, just do the tender, and you'll be fine for at least a year.
Yeah, it's not a bad situation for the Pats at all, but what does scare me a little bit is they don't really have an outside corner if they do lose JC, like you were saying, Grant. Then you got to try to draft one in the first round, probably. So, yeah, it's a weird situation.
That's why I always like not hate mock drafts. Mock drafts are fun. You know, it's fun to look at them, fun to make them, whatever. But like, it's so impossible to predict what teams outside like the top 5 need. Like the Patriots' #1 need in April can be completely different than what we say it is right now. Right now we say it's quarterback. Let's say we sign someone like Fitzpatrick. Okay, well, and then JC gets picked up for a first round pick. I would say corner is our #1 need. It can overnight. This can change when we hit free agency. If Andrews leaves, offensive line, like interior offensive line, has to be
Yep, you
the
got a point.
#1. Like it changes so quickly that it's so hard to just be like, well, this is what this team's need is. Like I couldn't tell you what New England's going to do with the 15th pick right now because I don't think anyone knows. Because
See that's the thing.
Could be a
free
wide
agency.
receiver, could be quarterback, it could be offensive, like it could be anything right now.
That's
you can
the
mock.
thing with the free agents too.
You
It's
can-
like these. So go ahead, Grant.
No, you can mock Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase, whoever it is, to the Pats right now. But free agency hits and we sign Allen Robinson. That completely changes the scope.
You can say that for other teams too. Because what if the Dolphins go out and get Allen Robinson? Oh, well, then it's probably Penei Sewell at 3. And then the Patriots are in a
Right.
position to get a wide receiver at 15. So, you know.
It changes so much, and then trades everything.
Yep.
The only time you can try to predict what's going to happen in the draft is probably like the night before when everything's set in stone.
And then
and
it's
not
even
even
tough
because draft
Even then-
day trades. So
Yeah, like just the like that's the thing about like these free agents, like these top tier free agents. It's like while we have like 60 million, we have a lot of money in cap, but we also have a lot of holes all over the roster. It's like you're probably gonna see a lot more like mid-level like free agent signings than you are like the top tier guys.
right, yeah. I mean that's actually such a perfect transition into what we want to talk about next.
I was gonna
which
ask,
is-
is there any more like
that's
Patriots-
really notable. I mean, you know, you got your Jakob Johnson.
okay.
It's like who cares, right? But
Jakob Johnson. Yeah, the fullback. We miss James
Yeah.
Stanford.
Oh, yes, we do.
But
We do.
like we're talking about
I bet
exterior
Michelle
free
misses
agents. I think that's a great point, Jacob. Is when people look at the piece of paper that says $60 million in cap room or whatever we're estimated to have and what we will have, people think like, oh my god, like we'll go out and get Shaq Barrett and
You get
Chris
Shaq Barrett,
Godwin.
and then
It's like-
what else do you have to do?
that money just spread over a wide range of signing guys like, you know,
We're gonna see a lot of new faces, and there's gonna be a lot of like guys that like you're gonna be like, yo, like I know him and I kind of like him, but like then it's not Allen Robinson or anything.
guys like Adrian Phillips, Demir Bird, Bo Allen, people that you've been familiarized with that you're not 100% like people that
the
will
casual Pats fan's gonna be very disappointed.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
No matter what this team does, Jacob,
No.
the casual Pats fan is disappointed.
They've been saying that about the draft. It's like you're gonna hate whatever they do at
Yeah,
quarterback.
whatever they do
Oh,
in
we
the
didn't sign
draft.
Dak Prescott. Oh, no.
Yeah. So we've got how many did y'all come up with? We wanted to do a
I
reach.
did like one of each.
Well, okay, we did a reach and then a
We can do
realistic.
more than one.
Yeah, I've got a
If you
couple.
think
So
of if you
I have
I've
I
got
have
a couple as well.
I have a mess of them. So I'll go last. So Jacob, you can go first.
Okay, I had
Someone that
mine.
you we'll do a reach, a top market guy,
Hmm.
and then a more of a realistic that mid tier guy that we were talking about.
Right. So my dream sign-in would be Hunter Henry, because because we haven't had a good tight end in here in years, and it's really sucks. Like, cause we talk about like Mason Rudolph and whatnot. We can talk about that like a little later, but like I just want a guy who can block.
Kyle
Like
Rudolph.
I just
Kyle
want a guy
Rudolph,
who
that was a little-
Nick, yeah.
Bring in Mason Rudolph.
Made,
Yeah, you want a guy who can block.
I want a guy who can block and not get run over by some no name you never heard of. Like,
At
that's all I
Ryan
want.
Izzo.
Ryan Izzo wouldn't even make my high school team. so yeah, getting a tight end would be nice, even if he doesn't put up receiving numbers. But Hunter Henry would be a dream sign in. And like a realistic sign in would be Curtis Samuel. See, I've actually talked myself into Curtis Samuel, but just because when people think he's a gadget player, he's really not. He's more just a guy with speed, but he can also run really good routes, and that's my kind of guy. Some
You
guy,
know who else is a gadget player? Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. If you,
You know what I'm
if
saying?
wanna-
Like that's like you have your Cordero Pattersons, your Curtis Samuels, and your Tyreek Hill. He's versatile.
exactly. He's versatile and he can run routes, and he's not some stiff like Patterson who can just run.
Can I say something about Hunter Henry? I think there's.
Go ahead.
Yeah, for
I love Hunter. I love Hunter Henry. I don't know anyone who doesn't. Awesome player.
Bill
Got
Belichick
it.
sure does.
Nobody loves him more than Bill. The -2 signing him is that it kind of throws away what you've already invested in the position. I think no matter what we do this offseason, we need to bring in a certified, literally just anyone better
A
than Ryan
bridge.
Izzo. Like a bridge. Yeah, a
bridge.
bridge is a good word for it.
Like Rudolph.
Like a Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, not particularly Kyle Rudolph in my personal opinion, but
No,
a
just
guy.
somebody
we can
like
talk.
him.
We can have that discussion
Yeah,
in a minute.
that's a whole.
Because that's an entire discussion.
Yeah, that, but you know what I'm saying. Like a guy that can come in and be a 1-year rental deal veteran player, so then you're not leaving Ossie and Keene to play above a role they should. Hunter Henry is a multi-year player that will take over the
4
number one
years,
spot
probably.
for multiple years and be like
I'm fine
the
with that.
guy, the option. So it's like, yeah, like it's nice to have that guy, but then you end up with a third and a fourth round pick invested in 2 tight ends that got their growth stunted by a guy who's good, but we never even got to see what the value of the picks we made were.
Well, I mean,
I don't
at the
hate
same
either
time.
one. I think
well, at the same time, like, cause Hunter, because you can have like 2 tight end sets. You don't need. You can rotate.
Right.
Like, let's say you have because remember I know Gronk and Hernandez is like an extreme example, but you get my point. Is that like if you have more than one good
Gronk
tight
and
end,
Bennett, maybe.
or Gronk
I guess
and
they
Bennett,
didn't
like
really pay
you
together.
can
Kyle Rudolph
you
and
can
Irv
rotate
Smith.
them in. You can rotate them in, or have 2 tight end sets. Like you can use more than one tight end, or even use like remember isn't Keane supposed to be kind of a fullback too? Can't he? play
He's a
fullback?
utility guy. Yeah, he can block and he can
so maybe
catch.
use him more for that, and then Asiasi can be the other tight end. If that's just assuming either of them can play. We don't even know if they can play.
Yeah, I mean, you have to let
We
them pan
haven't seen
out, but
them.
it's like
'Cause they sucked
yeah,
last
we have yeah, but again, like we have no sample size on them to really determine like who they are as player. 1 year, that's it.
Get him QB can throw first.
1 year behind Ryan Izzo. Like that's not going to tell you too much.
Yeah, the one thing that I wouldn't if we come out and sign Hunter Henry, I won't be mad about it. One thing I would be legitimately mad about as far as the tight end position is Kyle Pitts. We have no business with Kyle Pitts. Stop mocking him here. Stop dreaming about it. It better not happen. That is literally a wasted pick in my opinion.
Unless you move the receiver.
If we take him, it makes the Keenan and Asiasi picks wasted.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Which are
is it-
picks you traded
that's
up
what
for,
you're
by the
saying.
way.
It's just
Right.
a different way of saying it.
I don't know. I hate investing in something and then,
Watch, that's what Bill's
coming
gonna
back
do.
on that
Dude,
investment.
Freaking Devontae Smith's gonna be available at 15. He's gonna take Kyle Pitts.
bro.
Can you imagine?
Pitts won't be there at 15. I don't know why people even
I
take
know,
him
I
every
know
day.
you probably won't.
So stupid. Yeah.
All right, Matt, what you got?
Anyways, yeah, go ahead.
Mine, I think this guy is, he's not very realistic. I think he's a dream guy. Linebacker Levante David from the Bucks. First thing I say why he's not realistic is because Tampa Bay's probably not going to let him go. Him and Devin White are probably the best tandem in the National Football League. You could look at the 49ers and Fred Warner. I know we all like Fred Warner. But, you put him alongside Dante Hightower and maybe Juwan Bentley, and you can kind of grow Bentley a little bit, maybe grow Uche, kind of mold those guys into pass rushing roles where David can play, all downs. I just think David would be amazing here. Belichick loves his defensive players. So, Levante David for that pick. And then probably a more realistic option. I know Jacob went Curtis Samuel. He was a guy I had on my radar as well. I'll go Corey Davis. I've posted about Corey Davis. I think Corey Davis is a great fit in New England. What was he, like the 5th overall pick in 2017 or something? You think Harry's a bust? This guy could probably be labeled a bust on too. He can block, he can catch. He's a great route runner. He's been behind A.J. Brown for 2 years now, and he's kind of shined when he's had to shine. So I think he's a guy you come in. He's not exactly wide receiver 1, but he could definitely grow into wide receiver 1. I think he's a great compliment to N'Keal Harry. He can probably be a deep threat. And if the Patriots 20 use N'Keal as a red zone guy, I think Corey Davis is a great option.
Do you remember?
Move Harry to tight end.
Do you remember what pick Corey Davis was taken at?
I thought it was 5. No.
Yeah, I think it's 5. Like,
out of
so
Western
early.
Michigan.
Like, right.
I keep
Yeah,
forgetting about that dude.
it's like until AJ Brown
Hasn't had a
got there,
1,000 yard year.
Oh,
and AJ Brown has had one every year.
Well, AJ Brown.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I just look at Corey Davis, and I think, like, this guy's probably not going to cost you a lot of money. Like, I think he's worth,
He better.
probably his max value is probably around $10 million. I think that's a
Corey
very
Davis
reasonable
is a
price for
signing
New
that I
England.
would be like over the moon about. Even though
So
he's
I'll
not.
just read his
I'd be happy.
stats. So the past couple of years, this year he was on the verge of a 1,000-yard year. He played 14 games, 984 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So that's a career high across the board. So that
Even
definitely
that
helps his
isn't
value
bad.
this year.
It's not like
No,
it's
no,
not
I
like
would take that.
it's not like N'Keal Harry numbers. That's the thing. Like if you want to talk about like you said, like if you think N'Keal Harry's a bust, like you could discuss draft value all you want. He's it's not like he's some stiff. Like he's actually like producing something. So
It's weird because you look at N'Keal Harry and he's kind of, if he has a blocker, right? We've seen plays that he kind of gets manhandled. You look at Corey Davis, this guy can block, man. He is just, if you go on Twitter and you look up Corey Davis blocking, he'll go downfield and block safeties, he'll block linebackers. So I know Belichick loves his wide receivers that can block as well. So maybe that's a fit that they want.
So you went with a receiver. So I don't want to like harp on like we all know like Allen Robinson being a top. He's probably like I'd say top 3 of this free agent class. So I don't want to go with him.
Oh, he might. Yeah.
I have a different kind of reach where it's not a top tier guy, but a guy that's unrealistic for a different reason. And I feel like Jake's about to shake his head at me. But Mitch Trubisky is someone
Jesus
that
Christ.
isn't being
Yeah, let's get the
He
white
isn't-
Cam Newton in here.
he isn't being talked about in like any relation to New England. And I don't know if there's
Good.
like a reason for that.
'Cause he sucks.
But if yes.
Hear him out.
Yeah, hear me out on
sorry.
this. There's like Ryan Tannehill, what he's done to the quarterback position in far as like shaping the way people will view guys not getting to the second contract and not working out in a situation is pretty remarkable. Like when there's a level of hope to Mitch that you kind of almost want to say like maybe it just wasn't with the Bears. Like Mitch has moments that a lot of QBs that you would label like he has moments that Sam Darnold could never have. Sam Darnold sucks. Mitch Trubisky has these ones where I mean, look, he was a Pro Bowler.
He was a Nickelodeon MVP.
He's the
Oh, Jesus
MVP.
Christ.
Yeah,
He went. What
he's
did he
been to
go?
the
Like
playoffs
11-3
twice.
or something? Like
I just think that he should be viewed differently than a lot of these like reject first round picks. Like I know because of where he was taken and the fact that they traded up for him that the standard is higher for him. But if I had to pick a guy to do what Ryan Tannehill did from Miami to Tennessee, I would pick Mitch. I think that there's somewhere
where he
in
goes.
him. And it's right, that's what I'm saying. It totally depends where he goes. and maybe New England
It
not the
better not
spot.
be here.
But no one's talking about that, so I wanted to be the one to talk about it and be like,
Well, I think that's a real like. I know you said it's somewhat unrealistic, but you're
It
right.
might be
No one's
realistic.
really talking about it.
It frankly might be
He's
realistic.
definitely a guy. He's flying under the radar a lot. I think he could be labeled as better than like an Andy Dalton or I don't want to say Fitzpatrick because I still think Fitzpatrick would be.
I would much rather have him than Andy Dalton because like we know
Well,
what
he's got
Andy
more
Dalton
potential
is.
than
There
these
is
older
no
players,
ceiling
right?
to Andy.
Right.
I don't
See,
know.
the thing
It's
is, if you're gonna bring in a retread like Mitchell Trubisky, you got to bring someone else in as well.
100%.
You can't
no matter,
bet on these.
No
guys.
matter who the Patriots bring in, whether
Like the
it's
Colts are betting on Carson Wentz, and I think that's ridiculous.
Jacob Eason.
It's like, can you imagine Mitchell Trubisky? Ugh.
Man.
Anyways, what's your realistic one? That was your first one.
So a guy that I've been a big fan of for a while is Kendrick Bourne, San Francisco 49ers wide receiver. I don't know. He's one of those. He reminds me a lot of Jacoby Myers, and I know that that might be a turnoff to some people saying like, well, we've got our Jacoby Myers, but you know, we got to upgrade at the wide receiver position, and
Any way you can.
but at the same time, Julian Edelman's in question. N'Keal Harry is awful. Damiere Byrd's a free agent, and that leaves you with Gunner and Jacoby. Like you gotta have some 2, 3, 4 kind of wide receiver guys in there too. And I think Kendrick Bourne's one of the better options. Another under the radar guy that seems like such a Patriots signing to come in. I think he had like 700 yards last year, really being the number like 3 option, 4 option.
Yeah, he's kind of buried behind like Debo Samuel.
Maybe Kyle Shanahan, Kittle, Ayuk. Like for how many people they got there and the way that offense is, he was extremely productive for San Francisco for how long he'd been there. So yeah, Kendrick Bourne, a guy. I had a few other ones. Solomon Thomas, kind of another under the radar, like
Yep.
I don't want to say like reject like top tier pick, but like a retread guy that like didn't live up to expectations, probably not going back to where he's from, situation. And
I hadn't even heard of him.
I think I'm gonna throw another name out there too. I don't know if you guys remember him. I think it was the 2017 draft. It's Jared Davis. He's a linebacker from Florida. Plays for Detroit or played for Detroit. And he was, I believe, the 15th overall pick or something like that, close to where we're drafting this year. He was kind of behind Reuben Foster in that draft. And he's a kind of a physical guy. He's much like Dante Hightower. A lot of people compared him to Dante Hightower. Great sack, like he's a sack machine. He can get after the passer, and he can play as a downhill guy who's someone that we kind of need behind Ja'Whaun Bentley, who's much more of a run stuffer.
The day we get a pass coverage linebacker would be very, very nice. I don't. When was the last time we had one?
We just got one back, baby. Dante.
He's not a pass coverage linebacker. Last one we had was maybe Jamie Collins.
Not these days. No, you know who was a pass coverage linebacker? Was Ja'Whaun Bentley weeks 1 through 4 in 2018.
For like 2 weeks, yeah.
For 4 weeks, yeah.
Okay, 4 weeks. Sorry.
Yeah. He was the front runner in my book for defensive rookie of the year until that neck injury or whatever he had.
There's people in my comment section that are telling me Terez Hall is going to be the next all-pro linebacker.
Oh yeah, Terez Hall. You hear that, everyone? Let's hook our wagon to Terez Hall, the next Dante Hightower, the next whoever. Guess what? Because he shined in like 1 game. Let's go. Let's start the Terez Hall.
He did. He's never shined, bro. He had 1 hit. He had like 1 big hit.
Yeah, it's like Louis Riddick was hyping him up with nothing.
Wipe his
Terez Hall.
Yo, Louis Riddick.
If you send me a message saying Terez Hall, I'm gonna block you. I'm not even gonna.
Let me pull up this. Let me pull up the
29 PFF grade, was getting shredded in pass coverage, and then
he was terrible.
Then he popped TJ Yeldon, and Louis Riddick was like, "You do not come
look
off
at this
field
guy
without Terez Hall asserting his dominance."
I remember that.
It was unbelievable.
Terez Hall is a guy who can what? Who? Terez Hall. Terez Hall.
Emergency linebacker.
This is the guy who's gonna keep the dynasty going. Is Terez Hall? Wait.
This guy's like Fred Warner.
For people who can't get out of their like Patriots like land. Like they can't broaden their
Patriots
scope
land.
beyond like Patriots land, where it's like,
You
there
can't possibly find another Terez Hall around.
exactly where they're like they get mistaken because it says Patriots up there, and it's like, oh, Terez Hall, like, where are you gonna upgrade against Terez Hall?
I don't know, man. Where are we
corner
ever
store.
gonna find him?
Anywhere.
Anyway, some guy on his couch, is better than Terez Hall. I don't.
Yeah.
Just,
Do you want me to read this comment?
no, go ahead.
No need for a backer. Terez Hall looked great and will look better next to Hightower and Duggar, being groomed in the Rover by Chung.
Who is that sent by? Terez
So
Hall?
you're telling me?
Terez Hall's burner.
I don't know. It's probably his burner.
Yeah, Terez Hall.
Like, yeah, he looked better next to Dante Hightower when he's buried on the depth chart behind like 2 rookies.
Yeah, no, Terez Hall will look good next to Juwan Bentley as like the 5th linebacker.
I gotta pull up his like coverage stats now, man.
As much as like PFF's a joke, that PFF thing tells it all.
Right. Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah, Terez Hall. I can't. I'm gonna buy his jersey, and I cannot wait to watch Terez Hall in 2021. That is, if he's on the team.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Anyways,
Wait.
we've wasted like 5 minutes on Terez Hall.
Lord.
Yeah, I know. This is the only place that you're gonna get Terez Hall talk. Okay.
This is off-season content.
No one is doing what we're doing. Like, who can talk about Terez Hall for 5 minutes?
102 passer rating against.
For a linebacker who gets targeted maybe like twice all season.
For comparison, John Simon allowed 56.3.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and we already specified John Simon's terrible. And so that only,
god-awful.
what is that? John Simon, bro, he had like a 42 PFF grade.
John Simon's a puke. I hate him. I personally hate him.
Matt, the guy who
What about
commented
the guy
that,
that was commenting?
see if he went to Mizzou. In his bio, does he have like Mizzou like 22 or something? Like, that has to be the only explanation for being a Terez Hall like super fan.
Terez Hall.
His name's Andrew Martin. And he posts about food.
He definitely, the only explanation is that he goes to Mizzou.
Terez Hall.
He's
Good
one of
God,
the 3
fuck.
things: Terez Hall's burner, a family member of Terez Hall, or he goes to Mizzou. That's literally it. That's the only explanation.
The only person that's upset with what we're
The
saying
other
right now
thing-
is that person and Terez Hall's mother.
All right.
He commented this on a free agent target post of a defensive tackle. He said no need for a linebacker on a defensive tackle post. Like,
That's cool, but I don't remember asking. Like, that's what you should have replied saying.
yeah, facts.
Did you reply?
I must have Alzheimer's. 'Cause I don't remember asking.
Terez Hall.
Terez Hall.
Anyways, let's get off this. Let's get off that.
Yes. Can't stop talking about Terez Hall.
I can't stop thinking about Terez Hall,
We
guys.
gotta bring back the Yosemite Fiesta out of context.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna put up a post on the Yoso Fiesta account.
Someone
It's just
text Ethan right now and tell him to make a
like
Terez Hall banner or
Okay.
something.
All right, Jacob, you had a take. you had a take that we wanted to close out the show with. You said this the other day. We said save it for the pod. Explain your quarterback thing.
So the question, yeah.
Yeah, go for it. No, go for it.
So the question is the NFL turning into kind of like the NBA in terms of quarterbacks, where these players can pick and choose where they want to go, and unfortunately, it might be heading that way, and I hate it because, and I love the people who are like, because whether it's Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson, people are like especially with Deshaun Watson, like they gotta trade him though. He doesn't want to be there. Like he asked for a trade. Like it's like they don't have to trade him for one. Two, like why would they? Like if you're the GM of the Houston Texans, Nick Caserio, and you're thinking Deshaun Watson wants out because you wouldn't sign the coach that he wanted or whatever the case may be. Like, are you gonna trade your generational quarterback just because? Like you're gonna try and find a way to make it work, and I don't blame him one bit for not trading him. And this is there's two sides to this argument, and both sides are just not quite getting it. It's like people say like he should either honor the contract because they signed it, or that they should honor his request and let him go because it's a crappy organization or whatever. It's like, yes, he signed the contract, and the team can control what. Like when people don't understand was like when you sign a contract, like they get to choose what to do with that player in the best interest of the team, what they think is the best interest of the team. Like there's no like rule or whatever saying that like they have to trade him because he asked for one. Like if that was like a thing in the contract and they breached the contract, the NFLPA would have a field day for that. But that's not the case. Like the team can do whatever they want, and the player can just either sit there and pout or not play and just not get paid, or whatever. It's like it's getting the whole debate is like really stupid.
So do you think that the NFL is becoming the NBA in that way?
I fear it might be because right now it's only like happened for like what, 2 quarterbacks. It's like,
I think it's a domino effect. I think
Watson and Wilson.
I think Watson's start was the first domino to fall. Maybe it was Stafford, but
maybe. But
a quarterback says like, "Hey, I want out." And then I'm unhappy, and that kind of, triggered a lot of people to be like, you know what, like I can do this too. You know what, I'm unhappy. I want the best thing for me, and whatever it may be. So I think it's a domino effect. I don't think it's gonna be everyone, but I think
even
the
fact. Can I just interrupt you real quick?
Go for it.
No, I heard someone made this point, and I thought it was interesting. Just the fact that Tom Brady left New England and won a Super Bowl with the Bucs, that like these QBs think it's all about them now, and like. And like while they are like a huge, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're not like a humongous part of a.
That's intriguing.
Success of a team, but like now they think it's all them, and that they should get whatever they want whenever they want. And it just Watson wanted to have input on the coaching hires, right? And they apparently just didn't listen to him. So what? Is that not nice? Sure, but like. It's not his decision.
Here's the thing, though.
Unless it's in the contract, they don't have to abide by that.
If you are Deshaun Watson, and the thing about Deshaun is that he was told that he would get input and then didn't. And if you believe Deshaun Watson, like you said, if you're Nick Cassero and you say, well, why would you trade your generational talent? Well, at the same time, why would you not make your generational talent as happy as he can be by including him in these decisions? I feel like most teams, and I don't have any basis on this, but I feel like most teams probably inform their generational star quarterback on big decisions being made. I mean, we did. Brady had input. Bro, Brady basically ran our offense for a long time. Like
wasn't Brady in the loop for
There was rumblings that he had input on like the Sanu trade or something.
And
I'm sure he
sometimes
was in these
brought in free agents too.
People that he wanted here.
You don't have a player at the caliber of Deshaun Watson without them being in the conversation. So I think he's rightfully upset. And Houston is an absolute dumpster fire. I think they're the new Washington. Washington's still dumpster fire, but they're the new Washington in the sense of like this dysfunctional organization with these crazy characters in the front office, and like Jack Easterby is basically like the new Dan Snyder here. But
pretty much,
I don't think it's gonna hit the point where we just see like every single player doing this like NBA level of like these are my preferred teams. I think the closest thing we've seen to it was Antonio Brown requesting a trade and then being like, but I would only go
here. Ruin the NFL.
He shot himself out of 2 places.
Yeah.
Basically to get to New England.
So let me do this. I'll give you the argument against, because I think a lot of people do believe that about the NBA, that it's this completely player-run league where they get to decide where they want to go, when they want to go, and trades are treated like free agents. And everyone's like, there's no loyalty, there's no respect, like old man yells at cloud sort of thing. But I'll give you a good example of an NBA player to kind of relate it back to the NFL. Chris Paul. So, right, like when he got traded from Houston to Oklahoma City, literally like Chris Paul is such a perfect example because he is a like top 5 point guard of all time, one of the most powerful league figures. He's part of the Players Association. He's a veteran of the league. He's a big moneymaker for him. He's as powerful as I would say a quarterback in the NFL is. But he didn't get his way in that situation. And he got traded to Oklahoma City where it was at the time when he got traded pretty dysfunctional. And it was I don't want to like misquote him, but I remember him saying and like or people around him being like he's not exactly happy here and he doesn't want to be there. But he didn't get traded because he didn't have control. So even no matter how powerful you are, no one has their way all of the time. There isn't always someone with the leverage. In the NFL, owners won't always have the leverage. In the NBA, players won't always have the leverage. Now I think now the difference between the two leagues is that the owners have like a higher percent of the leverage in the NFL and players have a higher percent of the leverage in the NBA. But I don't think it's this all of the time where the NFL is going to shift to this league because I don't even think the NBA is like that. I think people blow it way out of proportion.
It's just the fact that the NFL is much more of a team sport than the NBA. Like if you know what I mean, like there's a lot more players and like you need offense and you need defense. Like there's many more players contribute in general.
Yep.
Is that like one player like typically like aside from maybe the Bucks, but like one player typically doesn't like take a mediocre team to
unless it's literally the greatest human or greatest athlete of all time to come in.
So like that's the thing. So it's like it's much more of a team sport in that sense. Is that and like you said, the owners have much more leverage. They can do whatever they want. Like that. Like the thing is, I've noticed that a lot more quarterbacks are having like these no trade clauses in their contracts now. So like Jimmy G has a no trade clause in his contract. He can pretty much pick where he goes if they decide to trade him.
That they're talking about, right? You're a QB.
You're 100% right.
You're paid to go out and play football for the Houston Texans, right? You sign this contract extension. I know you're not a future teller or anything like that, but this is your job right here, right? Like you're paid to be the quarterback, and like you look at anything else, like if police officers, like I know that's a bad example, but you tell police officers that they don't want to protect our cities and our countries, but if they just sat on the sidelines, then you're just not going to have the safety that you should have. And with Deshaun's case, like he's just letting the city down. He's letting his teammates down. I hate to pull that card, but I
completely understand.
Let me
right,
give you
and
the
I get the point.
I'm not disagreeing with it, but I'll give you the devil's advocate of it. And it was something that Draymond said a couple of nights ago.
Oh, God, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I hate it.
Do you disagree with him?
For the most part, yes.
I was kind of on the other side, and because you can throw the clip in if you want, but basically to like, I can't remember the exact situation he was talking about, but he was like, look at guys that. He was talking about Andre Drummond in Cleveland. He was like, okay. Andre Drummond has requested a trade. He wants out of Cleveland. The Cavs are a dysfunctional organization. Why do we look at that and see him on the sideline in street clothes and say what a guy, like what he should just like suck it up and play? It's like, at what point do we start
looking his decision? That's
the other way and say like, you know what? That's a dysfunctional organization. Why are they getting to the point where players don't want to play there? Because
right.
A lot of the times players don't leave places unless it's dysfunctional. You don't see someone who just won a Super Bowl be like, I'm unhappy here. Russ had his grace period, and now he's at the point where he's like, this place is getting dysfunctional. No one's trusting the head coach. There's decisions being made here that I don't feel comfortable with. I have said what I want. I'm not getting what I want. And if you guys want to win a Super Bowl again, or you guys want to get back to this place, I'm tired of being mediocre. I want out. So I think there is something to be said about the organization, and because I think Draymond he uses these words, villainize. We villainize the athlete and say like, oh my God, Deshaun, like shut up and you just play ball. Honestly, no. Like look at the Texans. Why would he want to shut up and play ball for a team that can't even like be equally as a partner?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So this is kind of what I meant by like the debate is pretty stupid because I don't think either side really gets it. Because that point like you villainize the athlete or the team, that I agree with. That I agree. Like you shouldn't just villainize the athlete. But from the interview that I heard is that that the Cavs wanted to trade whatever his name is, I already forget, and so it was the team's decision to sit him.
Drummond.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
It was the team's decision to sit him, and he was all, and Draymond was all like upset about it.
I think you could use it. You could throw it.
That's a different story because like I said, because he's under contract, the team can control whether they sit him or not. Like that's not an issue.
Yes. So I think that kind of goes back to the point of like the team at the end of the day always has the power. So even if here's a great example is Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is I think one of like the king examples of a guy who requested he wanted to trade and basically said, "Send me here." And it was the Lakers. At the end of the day, the Pelicans had months of not trading him and Anthony Davis not playing and being unhappy because they waited till the most convenient time to trade him to get the best possible value back for him. So even in a situation where a player said, "I want out and I want to go here and this is the only way," and he kind of held the team hostage, they still had the power to not trade him until it was the best thing to do for the organization. So at the end of the day, no matter how much a player wants out and whatever, and the NBA, you can't hold out. So there's still the team will always have the upper hand, is what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Matt.
I just wonder if the Texans are waiting for this draft to unfold a little bit because, what happens if Miami does take a quarterback at 3 and like complete utter chaos just, hits the QB carousel and, that's their time that they can kind of pounce on that and get the most draft capital, like you said, Grant, like the Anthony Davis situation. Just wait till after the draft and see what happens, I guess, right?
They're gonna try all they can to keep him to keep him there, as they should. And even like back to like what Matt said, but like about like you just you got to do your job or whatever. It's like it's just the people who like defend. Like if you're Deshaun Watson and you're upset over that they didn't include you in this, fine. But like at the end of the day, it's like the employee doesn't tell the employer what to do. And I don't know why people are so upset over that. Like, they told them they would do one thing and they didn't. Fine, you can be upset, but like at the same time, it's like it's what happens. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just both sides kind of bug me on it, and I just think like he can ask for a trade all he wants. It doesn't mean he's gonna get it.
Every situation
if he doesn't want to play, then fine. He just won't get as paid.
I don't blame Deshaun Watson for wanting out of Houston. Do I blame Deshaun Watson for kind of like holding them hostage? Maybe. Do I like? I don't blame Russ for being frustrated. Should he like blow up about it and go public and whatever?
That offensive line. I'm sorry, Grant. That offensive line comment that Wilson made is so wrong. It's not even funny. Like,
what was the comment?
Well, I forget the exact comment, but he wasn't happy with his own line. He thought he wanted a better O line. That it wasn't holding up or something.
Well, he's on pace to be the most sacked quarterback in the NFL.
And you know what else is true?
Well.
And he's also top 5 in time to throw. If you watch him on film,
that's so weird.
If you watch him on film, like this past year, I couldn't speak to other years, but like this past year specifically, I have watched him, and he as soon as he gets to the top of his drop, he starts jumping around looking for a place to run, and he misses guys underneath all the time. He just wants to run out of the pocket every time and make the big play, and it's leading to sacks, and it's just leading, and it's hurting the team. Like, for a position that gets valued so much, people are really quick to blame what's around them. And like we talk about with Cam Newton all the time. But like, you ever like thought like the quarterback might be doing something wrong? Because I think that's exactly what's happening with Wilson in that offense. He's not
free from blame. And I've been
not going through those progressions, and he's costing himself.
Yeah. I think that the litmus test of if the NFL was ever to take a complete change toward what you see in the NBA would be when non-quarterbacks get leverage over teams. But I don't think there's ever going to be a position as important enough in the NFL where there's 53, 55 guys on a team.
Right.
To where someone has like, I don't think even
that's the reason the quarterbacks are doing it.
Who would you say is the best wide receiver in the league? Tyreek Hill?
Stephon Gilmore.
Julio Jones? None of those guys are going to have. Gilmore doesn't even, to put it into a Patriots perspective is like we don't even have, like, we have the leverage over Gilmore.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, he
has it over
last year.
Like I was saying, like he wants more money. We can't offer it, so we'll get the best thing for him.
Yeah, is this? And they bumped money from 2021 to 2020 just to get him to play last season, and now we're at the same spot again, and they're probably gonna trade him. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll come to an agreement and make it like bring him back at a different number, but I doubt it. So it's just, it's like, is the NFL going that way? Possibly. Like these Watson and Wilson stuff like is very like NBA very NBA like is what
Yeah.
I'd say. So,
I think
but
it's
will it
just
continue. I don't know about that.
I think it's just
continue.
an era of player empowerment that every sport will go through.
Right.
And yeah, I don't think it's something that's going to be completely like change the league. The NFL will always be an owner-run league. Owners will always have the say over everything.
Right.
We'll get it back as more of a schedule here. We'll find things to talk about. We'll come up with some creative stuff.
When we get closer to the draft,
offseason.
after free agency starts, we'll have a lot to talk about.
Absolutely. So it ramps back up. We're in the dead period right now.
Right, pretty much.
But we'll be back.
Frankly, it's been relaxing. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Hey, and it's pretty relaxing not having like insane drama in your
Tom Brady.
Oh my god, last year was so painful.
That's
even before
literally
he
I was
left.
thinking about that today.
Before
I was
he left.
I was
Oh,
like,
God.
man, isn't it kind of nice? The biggest worry I have day to day is that we don't get a center back. Like that's kind of nice.
Literally. Oh god, I was like, by the time free agency started, I was like, oh, okay, Tom, if you're gonna just keep doing this every year, just go. Like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
But no, it is nice. You made a good point.
All right. That's all we got for episode 58. Adios.
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 I need a minute to forget it. Y'all got nothing.